Welcome to the Boss Battle Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello there. Welcome to what we are now finally dead in stone. Relaunching for like the 300th time.
300th.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Boss Battle Show. Live, but not live, but it's there in the power. From
in spirit, it's
in
live.
Spirit,
right?
it's live. It's live for us right now. We're physically speaking in the moment. So yeah, this is the Boss Battle Show. Some things are changing, as you'll notice from the last like 2 months. We've been.
Hold on, sorry, cut that. I'm like turtling over here.
Okay. All right. So you'll notice from like the last couple of months, we've dropped down to, we kind of pieced out for a little bit. Then we started putting out videos like once a week. And we just been real slow going. There was some personal stuff I had to deal with, and we just kind of weren't super stoked on the direction the channel was going. It was just taking a monumental amount of effort to make these shit work. Videos took hours and hours of life to edit, which is fine, which is normal. But at some point I was like, fuck, Gordy, I need to have a life of some sort.
Yep. I mean, when you're working a 40-hour day job and then
another
30 to 40 each week for the channel.
It gets cray.
Yeah.
It gets cray. And so I thought, I'm just going to take some time to play some video games and decompress, hang out with friends, go see some movies, and not worry about videos. And we've done that. And then in doing so, we kind of thought of a new direction we want the channel to take, a direction that would make things a whole lot easier for editing, but also a lot more in-depth for content that will give some more stuff. And so we're relaunching Ronin 24 into R24, as you now know, because you're experiencing this video. Things have been as they are. And this is the new Boss Battle Show, which is now a show, of course. It's going to be the similar type of content as before, where we're going to go over gaming news and culture and things like that. And it'll be once a week. However, it is also now a podcast, as it once was back in the day, but you'll be able to consume this via podcast networks. You'll be able to consume the full video on YouTube, however you want. The Boss Battle Show is our oyster that we give to you to slurp out of a shot glass raw with some tomato juice, or however you guys, however people do oysters.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Get
away.
Hold on.
Get away from the seafood.
I have to ask you, because you hate seafood so much. Have you ever had an oyster?
I have not. I touched an oyster. I looked at it. I smelled it. And I decided that it didn't look like something I wanted to do.
You would die a fucking death for sure. They're great. They're fantastic, but you would absolutely die. Fun fact about my brother, he used to be obsessed with oysters. Like, we would fucking have like weird. 300 and 400 a night when we would go out and stuff. And in the last like 6 years, maybe or so, he's developed some sort of shellfish allergy, and he can't have seafood anymore.
That's the worst.
So hopefully that's not a
hereditary thing. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's dig in. So the first thing, let's just talk about. I don't know if you have been, but what kind of gaming type paraphernalia have you been consuming, if anything, over the last little while? So, because I know you just moved, so you've been had some downtime. You haven't really had a chance to sit down and play much, but. What's been going on?
In terms of like geek content that is gaming related.
Gaming related, like you've been watching any streams, you played any games, you dusted off your Switch for any reason other than to...
I dusted off my Switch. I plugged it in. After I moved, I plugged in the PlayStation, the Xbox, and that's about it. I did consume a little God of War with you, and that's the last like real dig in.
That's really the last dig in I had as well. I played through God of War, and... as most of you probably did. And, oh, man, what a fucking experience. Just a brilliant game.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig in. So this
you've seen like maybe 3 hours of it.
3 hours of the game. It looks phenomenal, but what I hear is that it compounds that like quality that you get in the beginning, and by the end of the game, everybody's mind's blown. Oh,
man, the minds are blown. I'm actually surprised you've avoided spoilers thus far.
Yeah. No spoilers.
No, none. I won't give you any. But yeah, it's hands down thus far the best game I played all year, which isn't much. Detroit Become Human just came out this last Friday of the time we're recording this. I have not got it yet, but I am excited to dig into that and kind of see what to play. I might actually maybe play that later. I'm not sure. Combo Breaker is this weekend. Full Tilt. This is the final day as we're recording it. So I watched just the Mortal Kombat. Because they had Mortal Kombat 9 and they had Mortal Kombat X and Injustice 2. So 3 NRS games. It was like real powerhouse game for NRS. And of course, and we're going to get into it later, but of course the notion that MK11 was going to be revealed, I watched as much as I could, only to find myself deep in disappointment with the rest of the community. But we'll get into that later. Let's catch up with some of the news that's been happening and just we'll discuss it and kind of see what you think. The first thing I want to talk about is now we know, and when we shot a video on Call of Duty Black Ops 4. There were some rumors that it was going to come out that they were going to ditch single player. They were going to focus on like an Overwatch style multiplayer, and single player was going to be gone in place of a battle royale mode. We made that was actually probably one of the last other kinds of boss battle shows we did. Yeah. And it was revealed to be so. All the rumors came true. Class-based system for the multiplayer, very Overwatchy. And then the big thing was Battle Royale in place of a single player. Yep. Ditching campaign mode.
Switching it out.
Now, we'll get into that. That game is launching October 12th. However, then not too short after that, Battlefield 5, or Battlefield V, was also revealed, which is World War II setting.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, it definitely is.
It is, but it's like with some liberties for sure. So you read up or saw some stuff with the arm. If you don't have an arm, that's no slight against you. It's not a problem. No. We're
not against armless people here.
No, we're not. Punda Baba doesn't have an arm. He's fine. Yeah. Anyway, so that was revealed. That comes out just the next week on October 19th. And then so we've got the classic head-to-head matchup of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 versus Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 still giving us a cinematic campaign mode that's probably a la what Battlefield 1 was, which was technically Battlefield 5. The last one that was World War 1. It's very fucking confusing because there was Battlefield 4, then there was Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
Now there's Battlefield 5. So technically Battlefield 5 is Battlefield 6. In a way. It's very stupid. So let's discuss this. First of all, what are your gut reactions to them ditching single player for in favor of Battle Royale mode?
My gut feelings,
now,
like how it impacts
because you're probably not going to play it. You
or...
probably don't give a shit, but what are your opinions on the matter?
Okay. My opinion is they're looking for a new formula. They saw how much money this other company's making. They're like, damn, we could cut out. Because I don't know if y'all have noticed, but like these single player experience takes up a huge amount of resources and time. And if they can cut that out, they can save money. And so it's obvious a cash grab. In my opinion, this is a cash grab. And jumping on the flavor of the week.
Yeah.
So my impression is, I mean, they're going for what works. I can't blame them on that side of it, but
you can't blame them because it's like where's the money at?
Yeah.
The money right now, proof in the pudding, is in Fortnite with the just millions and millions of dollars. They're like Scrooge McDucking. The Epic Games is just like Scrooge McDucking into it's just ridiculous. So I totally get it. Now, when we first talked about it last, I was like against the notion because I'm afraid of it setting a precedence in the United States for video games to be like, well, you don't need campaign modes. EA's right. Single player stuff is dead. That freaks me the shit out because
you and me both.
I don't agree with that. I think they're very much well alive. However, if I can be so bold as to say, I have zero interest in Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty sucks. I'm just not a big fan of it. But when they revealed their what's it called? The Black Sauce?
Black Sauce.
Their Black Sauce mode. Yeah. When they revealed it, I was like, okay, so it's real. And then I started thinking about actually how much fun PUBG is and how much fun we've had with it, just the two of us. And then I was thinking, honestly, that might be the only way I would play Call of Duty is a new, fresh mode in a mode that I'm actually enjoying in other games. I think a Battle Royale mode could be cool in Call of Duty, depending, because they've showed it's going to have a huge map. It's going to be parts of the map are going to be based on old Call of Duty maps. The only thing they haven't said, which is concerning, is what the player count will be, and it has to match PUBG and the other game, Fortnite, to really be worth its salt, which is 100 players.
100 players.
But they very carefully left out the player count in all of their discussions and the marketing and stuff. So people are like, can they not hack that's a good point. Can they not hack 100 players? Is it going to be smaller, 50 players, which kind of sucks. If it's that case. So I'm hoping for a decent amount. So you want that 100 player mark? That's the mark for me. Because that would be like such war. The PUBG to me is I'm not a big fan of Fortnite. I think Fortnite's cool. I like what it's doing for the genre, but it doesn't appeal to me because I'm not into the super cartoony. I'm not into the building mechanic that they've got in Fortnite. It just doesn't appeal to me, so I didn't want to play it. Radical Heights came and then subsequently fucking died immediately because Bosky Studios then went defunct shortly after they launched that. Rest in peace, Cliffy B. And so I like Battle Royale, and I've said before, I'm like, I think that Battle Royale modes are the new thing, and they're fun. They should be implemented into other modes and other games. So it's cool that they're doing it, I think, and I want to experience it. But it's going to have land, sea, and air. They're marketing, so it sounds like it's going to be just a crazy mode. Yeah. With lots of destruction, death, and it's going to feel like war, which brings me back to when we did like Call of Duty, back when Call of Duty 2 launched with the 360. Fucking potato mashers. Dude, potato masher! When we played that, we were into it. And it felt, we played that on the highest difficulty with that veteran mode. And it was like, to me, even though it's not a real frame of reference, but to me, it felt like this is as close as what we'll get to war. Yeah. It was super cool. So I'm hoping to recapture that experience if they don't throw in like jetpacks and all kinds of dumb shit. Will you play it? Will I play it? That depends. Is this going to be, how much of a cash grab is it? Is this going to be an EA-esque adventure where I'm going to need like a season pass and like I'm going to need to pay to win, or are they going to follow? And am I going to have to watch, cutscenes of other players spending their money, or is this going to be just like all about the player experience? That's actually a good question. I don't know, and I'm sure they've addressed it, how they'll do loot boxes. I don't know if they have. If they have, I haven't read about it. That's an interesting point, because Battlefield 5, I think I read, is not doing it. They're not doing a season pass. They're doing kind of like Battlefront, but they've said they're not going to have pay-to-win boxes and stuff like that. I can dig on that. Yeah, I can dig on it too. Obviously, they have to do that because it's EA, and EA already had such a big snafu with Battlefront that Battlefield cannot make the same mistakes. Yeah. Otherwise, no one's going to buy their games anymore. That's not true. People will still buy their games. I'm a big fan of the rental. I'm going to call it the rental formula. When we could go to the video store, grab a game, bring it home, and the entire experience is built right in. You can't rent these games now. You need, your seasons pass and loot boxes and all this stuff. Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it with the right games. I mean, I did sign up for Xbox Season Pass or whatever just so I could play Sea of Thieves, but it's a trend that I'm not keen on. And if a game doesn't grab me, then I won't participate in that. Before someone gets in the comments and like roasts you alive, you didn't sign up for Xbox Season Pass. Yeah, sign up for their Game Pass, which is their Netflix of things, which is exactly different. I think that the Game Pass is actually fantastic, and we'll talk about that either later or in another episode. Now, I like Battlefield more than I like Call of Duty. I thought Battlefield 1, while I didn't buy it, but I did download the 10-hour trial from the EA Vault because I can do that. It was cool. It was a lot of fun. I played it with a couple of buddies online, like 2 or 3 times, and I played some of the story mode. It was just a really cool World War I experience, and like I wouldn't have spent $60 on it just because I don't play those types of games a lot, but it was super cool. And I think Battlefield 5 being in World War II obviously will appeal to me more because I like World War II games, and I'm glad they're making a comeback. The interesting thing will be to see, though, who will reign in the sales. I think a lot of people are really over Call of Duty.
Yeah. I wonder if we're going to get a migration at all, too, with classic-style players. And but neither game is following a classic formula. If you look at the Battlefield, first of all, it doesn't look like a classical storytelling. It doesn't look like your normal World War II kind of fanfare. It looks like, I mean, the way that they're moving and like, you know, people flipping through windows or whatever. The movement has also changed from previous games. It looks like maybe you can not just go prone, but you can like roll onto your back and still fire and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, no, I'm not sure if they implemented that into past games just because I didn't play them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. To be fair, though, that was still, while it looked like a gameplay trailer, it was still a cinematic trailer.
Yeah,
so we'll have to see what gameplay actually looks like, I suspect, here in 2 weeks when E3 drops.
But advanced mobility with diving to the side and stuff like that, I'd be way down with that.
Yeah, no, I would be down to give them a solid chance with like some friends. We get a couple buddies together and group play that shit. So that's what I think about Call of Duty. Black Ops 4. Let's move on to the next subject. Okay, Gordy, this one I think you'll have lots to talk about. Let's talk about, now this is a couple weeks old, but this is a subject I've been wanting to dig into in depth. Nintendo Switch Online. So a few weeks ago, Nintendo announced their online services, which are going to have respectable price points that you pay like up to $20 a year. And you get access to some online modes. You get access to their Netflix-like library of NES titles that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But then also some baffling decisions.
Yeah.
So the party aspect of wanting to, if you want to play with your friends on the Nintendo Switch, it's like taking a bottle, shattering it, scooping up the glass, and just shoveling it into your mouth and swallowing in your first go. That's what it's like to try to play online with your friends on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
And we thought, okay, it'll be fine. It just didn't launch with the correct stuff. They're going to fix it in an update when Nintendo Online launches. Then we'll have party chats. It'll be great. No, not really. They launched it, but it's just the phone app.
Yeah.
If you want to party chat with your friends, they encourage you in select games, like Splatoon 2, for example, to download this app on your phone to be able to talk to your friends and stuff and do other types of integrations that it'll have in select games. I use Splatoon 2 because it's in their marketing.
Yeah.
No functionality to chat with your friends on the actual machine.
Okay.
So you need a second peripheral.
Yeah. I feel like with Nintendo, like if they had their way, we'd be like surrounded with peripherals. But and they've always been peripheral heavy. If you think back in time, you know.
Yeah,
always.
and that's the thing. Back in time.
Yeah,
we are forward in time, and they're still making back in time decisions.
Yeah.
Let me preface this: Nintendo has made an absolute astounding system with the Switch. It's fantastic. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild blew my mind away. It touched me in ways that I thought only an uncle could. Super Mario Odyssey was equally as excellent. There was just moments in that game that really just touched me in the feels that were fantastic. Actually, one of my favorite moments in Super Mario Odyssey was I was playing on the TV, you were playing on the couch on the handheld, and we were both in the exact same part of the game, and we beat it simultaneously, sitting next to each other, playing on our own systems right there next to each other. And I was like, that
was fun, wasn't it?
Really cool.
Yeah.
That was a moment that I'll never forget gaming wise. So the Switch is fantastic, and we thought Nintendo is on their up and up from interesting business decisions they've always made, and it may be not. Now we're back with the launch of Nintendo Online. I've been saying for years now, and by that like 2 years since they announced Switch, I was like, what's happening with the virtual console?
Yes,
because
you have.
The notion of being able to buy the games I bought 30 times before, but then have them on my Switch, my one-stop shop to play NES, Super NES, Game Boy games, stuff like that, was incredibly appealing to me.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I bought the Switch. And then along with the announcement of Nintendo Online, not to mention, are they like, here, also use your fucking phone like a douchebag.
Yeah.
They're also like, oh, BT dubs, no more virtual console.
No virtual console.
Now we've got NES Switch Online, which is a Netflix-like library of NES titles to download. And when you first sign up and when it launches, it's going to launch with 20 titles. Now, these will be titles you can download that have new online functionality.
Okay.
They've announced 10 of the 20 titles. We've got soccer, tennis, Donkey Kong, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Balloon Fight, Ice Climber, Dr. Mario, Legend of Zelda, and Super Mario Brothers 3, with the rest to be revealed later. It's cool, right? Yeah. It's a respectable launch, and it'll be interesting to see what the next 10 are. I'm pretty sure it'll be maybe Mario 2.
Man, those are some early life cycle games too. Early in the life cycle of the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wouldn't be surprised to see like heavy hitters like the Ninja Turtles game, as much as everyone hated it.
Yeah.
But, it's a classic staple.
Was that an international seller?
I don't know.
Because sometimes I wonder how internationally aware Nintendo is. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
That's true. I don't know. But they would know better than us. I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So here's the thing, is Virtual Console's gone.
Yeah.
They said, yep, we're not doing that. It's now this. And I'm like, I can be okay with this if it's just Virtual Console rebranded, and essentially every month you're going to release new titles, right? Which would be fine, because I'm paying a yearly fee and then I get these titles.
Yeah.
However, the branding of it, where it's Nintendo Entertainment System Online, makes me nervous that it's just NES and they won't do SNES, Game Boy, stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's where my concern lies. I can get behind the new notion that they're trying to do, but are they ditching the notion of having downloadable versions of SNES games or Game Boy games? When am I ever going to have my time to shine with Virtual Boy? It's like, who put this there?
Who put that there? That's a good point. Maybe they don't want it all in one place. Like, here's one question for you out of the blue. The NES Mini, SNES Mini, how much money do those make? Is that substantial enough for the classic game sales to put it off another year, and just put out a handful of games?
That's an interesting question, because we know NES Mini came out, which was just out of this world successful, but it was only successful, I think, because of the false supply and demand that they implemented. Then they kind of fixed that with the Super NES Mini, because we were able to find those fairly easily. And now there are heavily, as you, I think, read the other day, much discussed rumors that they're going to announce the Nintendo 64 Mini for this year, which is cool. I will buy the ever-living snot out of that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, we do know they have the licensing rights, but there are a few problems with the possibility of an N64. And I see the problems with the N64 Mini. I can see how those might actually have something to do with Virtual Console, and that is GoldenEye. That is, I can't think of the rare games like Banjo-Kazooie. They can't have those. Xbox has those. They've lost licensing rights to so many of these games.
Does Xbox and subsequently Rare still have the rights to GoldenEye? Or
who knows? The question is, how complicated is it going to be to get their offering of games to include, the most iconic, the most played onto the N64 Mini, and same with Virtual Console if they were to pursue that, which they are not. How many of the games that they think would sell it would just be too much of a maze to work their way through to get it to work.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
The thing, if we're talking about the Mini real quick, is there enough first-party Nintendo titles that were on the Nintendo 64 that they could fill it up without the third parties?
I honestly, off the top of my head,
I mean, out of the box, we know it would have like Pilot Wings and Mario 64 that were the launch games for the 64.
Yeah,
if you remember, it only launched with 2 games.
Yeah,
it would probably also have
Smash, for sure.
It would have Smash. It would have Ocarina of Time, and you can't have Ocarina of Time without Majora's Mask. People would flip the fuck out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's like 5 or 6 games right out of the box. But the SNES Mini's got what, like 20 something. The NES Mini's got 30 something. Don't know the exact numbers. Obviously, the more complicated the emulation, the fewer titles it's going to have. Yeah. So I suspect that maybe 20 at max it would come with.
Yeah, something like that.
So there's got to be plenty that they could find in that notion. But yeah, that's a circling back to your first point, it's concerning if that's we're like, hey, we're going to do minis instead of the virtual console.
I mean,
which is just more fucking peripherals, Jordan.
It's more shit to fill up your shelves. It's ridiculous. I don't know if that's it. I don't even know if they make enough money to justify that school of thought, but it is something to put in your mind, and because there's a reason why they're not doing the virtual console.
Another thing they could be doing is they've got the NES. What do you got there? What is that?
Well, I mean, with all this time travel, I thought maybe I could
you gonna pop
do a little of my own.
I'll take a tab. Tab? You haven't ordered anything yet. You got to order something first before I can make you a tab. Right? That's the quote.
Yes, that is. Actually, I'll just have a Pepsi free.
Another thing they could do is they've got the NES Online Switch. Right, that's their thing that's coming out. They could also do like, for an additional $5 a year, you can have Super Nintendo Switch Online and have two different things, and they could keep implementing that with increasing pricing tiers. Is something that wouldn't surprise me, and I would be okay with, because if you think about it, $20 a year for Nintendo's Online to play these NES games, and fucking we'll be able to have my awesome phone app that I could talk to you on we want to play games together, is not a bad deal. Yeah. So.
Agreed.
Agreed. Anyway, that's what I want to put that little nugget of information in your brain. Soak in it.
Yeah, I'll soak in it. More subscriptions. They should have a Black Mirror about like subscriptions in the future, where people like have to have an entire computer system to keep track of all of their subscriptions.
Isn't that how it is now?
Yeah, it's getting crazy.
I've got Netflix, I've got Hulu, I've got HBO Go, I've got Stars, I've got Showtime Go, I've got Amazon, I've got soon to be Nintendo Online. I've got the Xbox Game Pass. I've got Xbox Live. I've got Sony PlayStation Online service. Fuck yeah. That's crazy. Upsetting. Man, I bet if I got rid of all my subscriptions, I could buy a house.
You could buy a house.
Okay, let's talk about our next subject here. So, like I mentioned, currently, as we speak of recording this, Combo Breaker is wrapping up with their finals. There was a leak on 4chan that took place last week that said, hey, Mortal Kombat, the next Mortal Kombat is set to be revealed at Combo Breaker. Tag teams coming back with the full gameplay revealed E3. Fucking everyone lost their shitty minds. Now, I am really good at Mortal Kombat predictions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excellent at it. When Mortal Kombat X was to be revealed, Boone started teasing. I was like, okay, they're going to announce it on June 2nd. The game is the 10th game. It's going to be called Mortal Kombat X. All these things. Bada-ma-fucking boom.
Boom.
That's how they were. And
boom.
It's very easy to predict NetherRealm's release schedulings. So prior to this, I was like, I think it's always been, and always has been, since Mortal Kombat 9, and then Injustice, and MKX, and then Injustice 2, they have revealed their title exactly 1 week before E3 with a cinematic trailer, and then at E3 they show off gameplay and stuff like that. It's always how it's been.
Yeah.
So given that logic, I have been saying, okay, Ed Boon's going to reveal Mortal Kombat 11 on June 4th, which is exactly 1 week before E3, and then at E3 we'll get gameplay, and then for the next year, the channel of R24 will just be a Mortal Kombat channel.
Yeah. Yep.
However, then this 4chan leak came out and said all these other games, Lego's Supervillains and Incredibles game, and then these are all WB games, by the way. And then NetherRealm will be showcasing Mortal Kombat. And then the Incredibles game was revealed. Then the Lego Supervillains. So it seemed like it was going to be legitimate. But I felt to myself, I was like, it just doesn't seem right. I was like, it doesn't feel like that. Now, I'm not sliding Combo Breaker at all, but in the scheme of the video game industry, Combo Breaker is a tiny event. The fighting game community is a small niche community in the sea of gaming. It's not a huge. It's not a huge chunk of
nothing
gamers.
To be ashamed of.
No, not at all. It's fighting games are not as popular as other games, but with fighting games, there are two of the heaviest hitting games of all time, with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat, as of the last while, is a much bigger seller. So technically, Mortal Kombat is the best-selling fighting game of all time at this moment. Obviously, Street Fighter somehow has a bigger player base, but the numbers of titles sold and purchased for MKX outsold Street Fighter V. And that's because of casual gamers.
Yeah, it has that casual appeal, that violent novelty.
Not to mention
lots of people want to play it.
It's on multiple consoles.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter's only on one. So that's neither here nor there. But I thought to myself, and I said, there's no way that they were going to reveal a AAA title at what is ultimately a smaller event.
Yeah.
The Combo Breaker is not an E3. It's a great event. NetherRealm games are showcased heavily there.
Fun.
It's in Chicago, which NetherRealm was in. Ed Boon is always there. We were within inches of his goddamn earlobes last year. We could have sucked on him if we wanted to.
We were literally sitting behind him.
Yeah, and I was, oh, God. So everyone was like, no, it's totally going to happen. So everyone was watching the MK9 reveal, the MK9 tournament, which is Friday night. Boom, no trailer. Then everyone was like, it's probably going to be after the MKX or the Injustice 2 finals on Saturday. So everyone watched. However, something interesting happened.
Yeah?
Ed Boon tweeted, if you can imagine.
Oh.
He said something yesterday.
And I'm sure that it was like very direct and honest.
It was super cryptic. He was like making fun of Battlefield and all these names. And then all these names. And he said, Mortal what? Winky face. And then someone said, Mortal Kombat 11 trailer coming up soon. And Boone tweeted back and said, nope. And fucking crushed everybody's dreams right then and there with this one Twitter. I'm talking, there's so much hyperbolic fucking nonsense happening. He tweeted nope, that the MK11 trailer was not coming. Not even like 20 minutes later, there was YouTube videos out. MK11 canceled. And I'm like, listen, nerds, it never was going to happen. It will be next week on June 4th-ish, because that is a 1 week before E3.
Yes.
That's when it'll be. If it's to be. I have some concerns.
Wait. You have concerns?
I have a little bit of concerns because I've been doing some research trying to get myself back in the mode of obsessing over Mortal Kombat. So I was going through right before MKX. MKX was revealed on June 2nd. And then E3 was 7 days after that.
Yeah.
Of 2014. That was June 2nd. 29 days prior to that, Ed Boon started teasing and counting down to June 2nd. We basically knew 29 days prior to that on June 2nd, they were going to reveal the next Mortal Kombat because he started putting out cryptic hints every day on how many days left were till June 2nd. Until blatantly, like 4 or 5, 6 days before that, he was like, June 2nd, you know, so like we knew. Now, given that, if we are to have a reveal of Mortal Kombat 11 on June 4th or thereabouts, there has not been one single tease from Ed Boon in the last month. Now, there has been some teases within the last year where Ed Boon has gone on certain records saying, if you are familiar with our development cycle, you can probably guess what we're working on next. So it's like, obviously, MK. But it's concerning that Boon's not up to his usual tricks in terms of teasing. He's almost kind of mum on the subject. If we're even to have a reveal next week, it would seem very out of character for Boon not to be starting to hype that up by now. So I wonder if molds are about to be broken and maybe they're just not ready with it to have a reveal. Maybe we won't see it at E3 this year. I'm going to be very sad about that if that's the case.
Crushed.
What do you think?
It sounds like, so you talked about the formula of the previous year. Is in years prior to that, though, he has consistently kind of built it up in that time frame, or I can't
remember from MK9. MK9 was a bit of a different scenario because what happened was, if you probably forgotten all about this, MK9. We knew an MK was coming, and we were chomping at the bit. We were like, when is it going to be announced? What is it going to be? Because at this point, remember, there was Midway, then Midway shut down. And we had heard, WB just bought them. But we didn't know NetherRealm Studios. There was we were just like, is there going to be a new Mortal Kombat game? What's the new studio? What's happening? And then out of the blue one day in 2010, something came up on YouTube called Mortal Kombat Rebirth, which, looking back on it now, we know what it was, but it was a 7-minute short film that was a reimagining of Mortal Kombat in current day, with Jax as like a police officer. Baraka was like this mad Jamaican scientist. Remember? Do you remember that? It was a 7, and it just came out of nowhere. And we were like, what is this? Is this Mortal Kombat? Is this the new Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
And we were flipping out because Ed Boon didn't say anything about it for a couple of days. We were like, is this like a teaser short film to the new Mortal Kombat? Are they totally... And I remember we had discussions. I said to you, I was like, they're going to reboot Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I was like, it's going to be a reboot somehow. And so we saw this and I was like, oh my God, they're rebooting it, but they're totally reimagining it with like a different scenario. Baraka's this weird scientist. And I was like trying to wrap my head around it. I was like, oh my God. And then like a week later, boom, they launched the reveal trailer for the new Mortal Kombat. They announced NetherRealm Studios, and I was like, oh, fuck, okay. And then Ed Boon's like, we have no idea what that is. Turned out what that was is it was a pitch from Kevin Tencheron, or whatever his name is, to do the Mortal Kombat Legacy series, which he ended up doing that launched before MK9. So it was like a big thing. So there wasn't really any teasing from Boon before then.
So that formula was broken there, but we should expect the formula to come back because they always have.
Yeah, I've got it like on notification now. Every time Boon tweets, I get a notification about it so I can see what he's saying. It's been pretty bare bones in terms of MK. He's been talking about MK a lot more, which is a good sign. And I think we're still probably going to see the reveal in the next week or so. I'm still pretty confident in it, but it is very out of character for Boon not to be fucking with everybody.
Yeah, very much.
Makes me nervous. That said, I think that probably the leak was maybe wrong about it being revealed at Combo Breaker, obviously, unless something happens in the next hour while Combo Breaker's wrapping up. Who knows? But I do think that we will see Tag come back. I think that because that Tag was MK9. They left it out of MKX because Boon said that based on their metrics, people didn't play it very much. But today's a very different time.
Yeah.
Tag games are very in. It like
makes sense.
I think it's like the battle royale of fighting games. Tag is like we've got Blaze Blue Tag Battle. There's the fucking anime game that just came out that everyone sucked its dick for 10 minutes.
Oh,
what's it called? Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. And Marvel vs. Capcom Tag Battle. So the genre of that is very hot right now.
Yeah.
So I think that now would be the perfect time as any for Boon to throw it back into the series.
Yeah, and it wouldn't. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't take center stage.
It would be a mode. It would still be. And I think we've got the Journey to MK11 series we've been doing. I think the gear is going to come back in its own new Mortal Kombat way. I think we're going to see loot boxes. I think we're going to see the writer of the Mortal Kombat comics, Sean Kittleson. He has been with NetherRealm now. He wrote the Injustice 2 story, and he's writing the next Mortal Kombat game. So the writing's going to be top notch. I think Sean Kittleson's a really good writer. I think he did a great job with the comics. So I think the reveal is imminent. But I have a cautious boner because now I have kind of like I have like a little bit of a fear boner at the moment.
A fear boner, okay.
A tiny bit of a fear boner. I don't know. Are you hyped for MK? This is I know you're not a huge fighting game guy, but I think Mortal Kombat speaks to you in a nostalgic sense where we still. I mean,
there was a time when fighting games were in my blood. When I was younger, I put a lot of time and energy into them. With the new MK, like with MK, usually the hype doesn't start until it starts like emanating from you, and then I start seeing screen caps, and then my energy level slowly rises. So,
because that's the one time every 2 years that we'll play a game for 17 hours straight.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's what we call it fiestas.
Yeah, we have fiestas.
The origin of fiestas is a beautiful one.
Yeah.
So we played Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 like it was going out of style, but in the arcades because we're old as fuck. Yeah. And we had arcades. A lot of you never played MK in the arcades. I'm young. I'm stupid. And then Mortal Kombat 4, same deal. And then once Mortal Kombat came out on the home consoles, we got Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, just the two of us, and we played quite a bit. We actually loved it quite a bit. Yeah. And then when Mortal Kombat Deception was about to come out, that's when I really inserted myself into the Mortal Kombat community. Like I was on MK Online in 2004. Oh, yeah. Well known. And we got so hyped for it, we decided we were going to have a party for it. Yeah. And we set up like 5 or 6 gaming stations around this apartment that I had. And it was Gordy, myself, and the Bone and a couple other buddies and just some other people, and we all came over and just had a circle of all of us on these different stations playing Mortal Kombat all day, all night long. It was your mom like made us burritos or something.
yeah, enchiladas.
Man, it was like one of my favorite memories in gaming. That was like the best day.
Yeah, that was like...
And then from there on out, for every Mortal Kombat game, it's never been that extravagant, but we always do something like that.
Yeah. In fact, are you sure that's the first one? I thought October was...
That was the Oktoberfest.
Oh, that was Oktoberfest. And then we shifted the name to Fiesta.
It was Oktoberfest because Mortal Kombat Deception launched on October 4th.
October, yeah, that's right.
And that was Oktoberfest. And then when Mortal Kombat Armageddon came out, we had a Fiesta that was just the two of us.
Yeah.
And then we had another Fiesta for... MK versus DC, as sad as that was.
Yeah, that was a painful experience.
And then we've had fiestas ever since, but it's always just been the two of us. But we just set up our stations. We go buy food the night before, and we just play Mortal Kombat for 12, 15 hours straight.
Until our eyes bleed.
Yeah, and it's always my highlight every couple of years. And then this is my favorite time of the year when Mortal Kombat gets announced. Then it's just speculating and just fine-tooth combing every fucking trailer, thinking about shit, sucking Ed Boon's tweets like they're goddamn Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
It's like a thing. We get cray. Anyway, we're going to leave you with that.
Yeah.
This is technically, again, the first episode of the Boss Battle Show in its current new format. You can watch this on YouTube. You can get it early on Patreon if you're watching this on Tuesday. It's because it's your Patreon subscriber. Our Patreon's revamping into a whole new thing, too, that you'll be knowing about here shortly. Or you can get it every Wednesday on YouTube and all the podcasting services. There'll be the full version, video version here on YouTube, so you can see us talking, clips and shit, or you can listen to it if you've got podcasting apps. It'll be there, along with a couple other new podcasts. So we've already been doing that. We're just including into our repertoire.
Yep. So consume however you want.
Consume however you'd like. Ladies and gentlemen, Boss Battle Gordy on Twitter, my Twitter at @AdamRonan_XXIV. It's been real, and we'll see you next week for what will be another episode of
The Boss Battle Show.
Yes, you listen to Gordy. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, all that good stuff.
Please do.
Yeah, peace.